High-tech trucks are in transit with vile technology and more than 500 horsepower. It is all about driving with the highest precision and energy efficiency. The manufacturers constantly develop new safety features in order to decrease the number of accidents. Nevertheless, trucks are the #1 cause. The accident outcomes are more disastrous for other traffic participants than for truck drivers due to the size and mass of a truck. For every dead truck driver, there are 9 fatally injured passengers. Their risk is more than 4 times as high. And yet, trucks are only involved in 17% of all fatal accidents. High-tech trucks. A horror scenario for every car driver are trucks that drive into the end of a traffic jam. Tiredness, inattention, or driving too close to other road users are the most frequent causes. Only every 10th accident happens because of technical reasons. While the number of truck companies has been increasing, so has the accident frequency. From 1995 to 2011 by around 25%.
It must be the aim of the manufacturers, industry and society to improve every year.
The producers try to minimize the danger of causing an accident with their trucks, a process that cannot be compared to the development of a car, as it takes more than 8 years. Trucks need to last longer due to the fact that they cover longer distances than cars, up to 150,000 kilometers a year. Cars, on the other hand, cover only about 14,000. Trucks also have a number of assistance systems to be prepared for daily traffic.
Safety is becoming more and more in focus now, also for the users of the transports, and they are requiring that trucks are driven in a safe manner. So therefore we are seeing more and more safety features being put into trucks.
The industry pays a lot for safety, for complex crash tests, for example. New trucks are still being manufactured when they are tested and crashed against a wall in high numbers. Looking at the improvement of the new Volvo FH, the Swedish producers go for over 20 different crash tests to check the outcome of an accident, with the help of trucks and dummies. The design department of Volvo Trucks. The development takes more than 5 years from the first virtual stroke to the finished model. It takes several thousand hours and countless modifications until the new high-tech truck is finally finished. A good appearance is essential for the designer. But safety is most important.
It wouldn't feel natural to compromise the safety aspect because of a sort of a beauty aspect, if you like. The best design is the one that combines the two. It looks good and it's safe.
As soon as the head designer decides on a draft, a model on a scale of 1 to 14 is created. It is traditionally crafted out of potter's clay by hand. A modern computer program helps the constructor to transcribe visions and innovations, which is still not enough for the real production. The clay model is the original guideline for the one-to-one model of the new truck. A good example of a meaningful cooperation of design and function are the rear-view mirrors, now attached with slimmer straps. Furthermore, the big frame around the mirror is not necessary anymore.
We have really optimized the mirror glass area and then made sure that we have not added any unnecessary material around. I kept it as slim as possible, mounted it on these very slim arms, and that has, at the same time as it has improved the safety and the visibility, has given them a very special look that makes them very unique and that really complements the design of the rest of the truck.
The headlights are undergoing a change in design as well, by adding new features to improve safety. The idea is to achieve dynamic main headlights for even better vision.
Okay, with the new headlamps we have actually incorporated a very important safety feature in here called the daytime running light, which is an LED lamp here that by law has to be on at all times.
Additionally, there are special bending lights to improve vision even at night. When driving in a curve, the beam is aimed in the driving direction and not straight ahead, as in the past. On average, drivers spend 5 days per week in their cabin while on long-distance journeys. This is the reason why the cabin needs to be perfect, both for driving and relaxing. For every driver, whether short or tall, big or thin. The new cabin is 1 cubic meter bigger and has 300 liters of extra storage. This means more comfort, but also more living space for the driver.
It's more space physically, and then through design, we have really tried to emphasize that as much as possible. So up here in the roof, you see that it's very nice, flowing, simple surfaces. The sun roof here, which is actually a safety hatch, because we now glue the windscreen in order to be able to get out in case you have an accident, you can't get out through the doors. This is a safety hatch. But it also lets in natural light and creates this feeling of space in here.
The view through the roof can look like this, but while driving should only be enjoyed by a fellow passenger and not the drivers themselves. The developers are very proud of the new air condition in the driver's cabin. iPark Cool is the name of the new park cooling system, which guarantees a restorative sleep.
We have to have good climate, so you really sleep the whole night. And this is an integrated air condition. So it works the whole night with electrical fans. The compressor to the air conditioning system is also electrified. So you have the right climate the whole night without having the engine idling.
Before a high-tech truck like this is produced in series, the people in charge test the stability of the cabin in detail. What happens in case of an accident and how does the cabin perform after a crash? Everything's documented right down to the last detail. After various simulations, the impact on the stability of the truck after a crash is tested with a collision from a height of 3 meters. The goal is to find the best safety conditions for the driver. It takes about 5 days to turn a roll of steel into a truck. The metal plates are made from very robust steel, the so-called boron steel. They are pressed in 5 steps, so the prefabricated parts can be connected in the best way. The optimized consistency is also a result of the new laser welding method, in which 2 flat plates can be matched before forming. The obvious reduction of the depth of deformation especially improves the safety of the cabin. The vibration test shows how resilient the shafts really are. They are shaken 6 to 8 weeks, 24/7. This correlates to an actual driven distance of more than 1 million kilometers. The new FH hasn't got a single body component from the predecessor. 2,970 screws are needed throughout the manufacturing process. Durability and reliability are most important for the driver and the trucking company. Breakdowns are dangerous and can end up being very expensive. The persistence tests on this special road are also about testing the resilience limits of the truck. In everyday life, the check correlates to a lifespan of 10 years and 1,250,000 driven kilometers. The trucks are tested forcefully. They drive through puddles and water gutters, over hills with a climb of 10 to 20%. And over massive obstacles like potholes and cobblestones.
We do it over millions of kilometers with test trucks, to make sure that the systems are working as they should be doing and not doing things they shouldn't be doing. That's really the big trick, really, to keep away from things that shouldn't happen.
In practice, the accident researchers also test how trucks survive several typical accidents. For example, how dummies react to a lateral rollover.
We're trying to solve the most important accidents first, so the most common accidents, and the rollover stands for 50% of the truck drivers are killed in rollover accidents.
The dummy sitting in the truck has got more than 50 sensors that are carefully evaluated after the crash. The new and so far unique independent wheel suspension improves the driving conditions. The trucks drive over potholes and cobblestones without the driver noticing anything. The front wheels accept any little bump. Straight routes can really be driven in a straight way due to the new technology.
The independent suspension brings us to a new level of handling where you get a very good, stable feeling from the truck. It's very easy to drive even on narrow roads and will help and support the driver.
In order to prove that this is no empty promise, a spectacular advertisement is being produced. A professional stuntwoman, the American slackline world record holder Faith Dickey, slacklines between two trucks that are connected with a rope.
I've highlined much higher than this before. I've highlined on longer lines, and I've highlined in harsher winds, but I've never slacklined moving forward before.
The producers want to demonstrate the good driving conditions and the perfect handling of the new truck, which succeeds in the end. The producers from Hollywood think that the stunt would not have been possible without the new independent wheel suspension. What a success! Because of the perfect driving conditions, both trucks keep the same distance between each other while the stunt takes place. Dynamic steering, the new steering system, promises an even easier way of handling the truck. The system contains electric motors in order to relieve the driver while steering. He thus needs less muscular strength to steer the truck. Dynamic steering guarantees directional stability and precision in any driving situation. It is based on an electrically controlled motor, which is regulated approximately 2,000 times per second to provide very precise steering behavior.
There are three features of Volvo dynamic steering that is beneficial for the driver. The first one is the low steering wheel force required at low speed. The second one is the disturbance reaction. And the third one is the steering wheel returnability when reversing.
The driver has to work far more in a standard truck without the dynamic steering than in a truck that has the system implemented. Thanks to the dynamic steering system, the truck driver's muscular effort is reduced by 20%.
Also, when I reverse, it requires very little effort to steer the vehicle. I can let the steering wheel slide back in my hands.
However, the new dynamic steering system is not only a relief on flat roads for the drivers.
Imagine that we are in a timber truck in the forest. Since the road is very uneven, it's very beneficial to have the disturbance reaction. Volvo dynamic steering will keep the front wheels straight if the driver doesn't apply any torque to the steering wheel. So the software is controlling the electric motor about 2,000 times per second. So it's very responsive to external disturbances.
The driver is more relaxed, the stress on his neck and shoulders decreases, and fewer accidents occur. A hamster is used to demonstrate how easy it is to steer the truck with the new steering system. Charlie, who only weighs 175 grams, is supposed to steer the truck out of the Spanish quarry.
Oh, and don't forget this, very important.
We're doing this for real. The hamster can really steer the truck. So it's quite amazing. You wouldn't think it would be possible, but I assure you, it really is possible. He steers the truck.
The professional stunt driver guides the hamster through the wheel just with the help of a carrot. Gradually, the truck is steered from the bottom of the quarry over the stony hills up to its peak. The people responsible for this are filled with enthusiasm. And yet, this is not the end. The Swedes were also able to convince action star Jean-Claude Van Damme.
The trucks will be placed closely together, and you will be standing on the side mirrors, 1 foot on each mirror.
Right.
The trucks will move backwards. After a while, they will slowly separate, and you will perform one of your famous splits with 1 foot on each side mirror.
On each side mirror of each truck.
Yes.
And they're gonna open up.
They're gonna open up slowly, so you have plenty of time to perform the split.
Yeah, but wait a second. I mean, if they keep on opening up, I can fall down
Yes,
to the ground.
but
So they have.
after a while, they will stop opening up and they will keep the distance.
At first, the Hollywood star is skeptical and wants to form his own opinion about the alleged straight-on driving qualities of the trucks. In the end, he is convinced.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection. A pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics. And a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Due to the new steering technology, the drivers of both trucks can match their distance very precisely and keep the same speed, all while driving backwards. In the opinion of the people in charge, Jean-Claude Van Damme's fitness as well as the driver's skills are essential for the stunt's success. But it would not have been possible without the Volvo dynamic steering in the first place. Despite every progress in technology, more than a third of all truck accidents are rear-end collisions. The consequences of these unbraked collisions are shown by the crash test performed by the ADAC. The Swedes put a lot of extra electronic safety components in the new truck to prevent accidents and to protect the lives of the truck drivers and other road users more effectively. One of the most important technological assistants is the so-called emergency brake assistant. Via camera and radar, the system warns about a possible crash and brakes independently. Development engineers carefully test the new system in order to make it work in a real-life situation.
In a collision with a car in a traffic jam, it is of course the car which takes the brunt of it, because the truck runs a lower risk with its mass.
The system should help if the driver isn't paying attention, About 90% of all truck accidents are caused by human failure due to distraction or excessive speed.
We want to get the attention of the driver back on what the driver should be doing. But if the driver fails in seeing the situation, the truck will then automatically put on the brakes and do an emergency braking, so it stops before hitting the object in front of him.
The system records cars and trucks, regardless of whether they are stationary or driving, and prevents crashes with speed differences of up to 70 kilometers an hour. If the system sees a vehicle, the emergency program will be activated immediately.
Very happy because it showed that the system works exactly as it should do.
The next step has already been taken. How is it possible to maneuver a truck if, for instance, the driver overlooks stationary traffic? As a consequence, the braking distance is insufficient despite the emergency brake assist, and hectic steering makes things worse. If necessary, the new Evasive Maneuver Assist System, EMA for short, takes over. The assistance function recognizes whether an activated emergency stop will be sufficient. If a collision cannot be prevented, activated by a steering impulse to the left or the right, the EMA directs the truck to the next free traffic lane independently and safely, even at maximum speed.
The technology can't push through all by itself, because some businessmen are reserved due to the price it comes with and are therefore not willing to pay this additional price.
Experts in the field of accidents estimate that with the help of this system, up to 2,500 lives could be saved in Europe. 350 hands work on the cabin of the new FH until it is completely mounted. The centerpiece of the new Colossus is the engine, which fulfills the strict Euro 6 norm and produces clean exhaust fumes. In comparison to its predecessor, it runs more smoothly, thanks to many electronic components. However, the different trial measures are much more complex. The Swedes make the most expensive tests worldwide. In this case, the scientists want to know the consequences of a frontal crash of two trucks. Depending on the equipment, the giants weigh between 7,500 and 12,500 kilograms. These test results must be integrated in traffic as quickly as possible in order to make it safer. A lot of accidents happen because the truck drivers get tired or lose their concentration. The lane-keeping support turns on at 60 kilometers an hour and controls the position in the lane. If the truck touches the lines on the road, the driver will get an alarm signal.
The system has identified that I'm driving over the traffic lane without using the indicator light, and this is when I get this acoustic warning as a hint that I left the traffic lane without using the indicator light. If I use the indicator light and drive over the lane again, I'm leaving the lane voluntarily, and I won't get a warning signal.
In the EU, the lane-keeping support has been required in all new trucks that weigh more than 3.5 tons since the 1st of November 2015. Not required, but certainly reasonable, is this adaptive cruise control. It adapts the speed and distance to the vehicle driving ahead and keeps a safe distance.
Here you can see that the adaptive cruise control system spotted a truck driving in front of us and automatically adapts to its pace in the traffic lane, distance included. This means I have a chosen pace of 80 kilometers per hour. The truck in front of me drives at 50 at the moment and accelerates now, and I keep the same pace as this vehicle with a safe pre-chosen distance.
If another slow vehicle drives in front of the truck will automatically brake and adapt its speed and distance to the vehicle in front of it. The highlight, The latest developments of these adaptive cruise control systems automatically keep a safe distance to the vehicle in front throughout all paces, which in this case also involves stopping and driving off again. Besides relieving the driver, the development of these electronic assistance systems, which was initially intended for cars only, also comes with a higher safety standard. Back to the production. Before the truck is supplied to the customer, all new systems are going to be tested numerous times. For example, a warning system that monitors the truck driver's tiredness. The truck informs its drivers when they should take a break and controls the driving behavior. If it seems as if drivers are getting tired, they will be informed by a warning signal on the display and are urged to pause.
And when you get tired, then you tend to sway a little, and then you will kind of wake up and maneuver very hard. The system will then detect that, and it will then, after a couple of these things, it will then say, warn you, and come up with a light and say, time for a break, time for a cup of coffee.
Since 2014, the regulation of driving dynamics, called ESP, has been required. It helps when the truck starts skidding out of control and is on the verge of overturning. The electronic stability program is provided with 3 sensors. A central unit calculates all current measurements that it receives. If they do not fit each other, the brakes on one or more wheels will be activated. At the same time, the power of the engine is automatically reduced. Slippery roads during winter can turn out to be a challenge for trucks with a heavy load. Even very skilled drivers can